speaker, and I'll have to get down on my knees now because it's my boss, and that is Jason Smith. He's our UKIP chairman of Bradford and District, and he is going to be talking about my election. Jason, it's all yours.
Thanks, Stephen, for that wonderful introduction. I'm going to talk about my campaign in Bradford South. But before I start, I just want to open up with a quick joke. I always like to bring a quick joke in at the start of the speech, just gets people going a little bit. The Green Party, that's not the joke, but it gets a bit better from there, but it is kind of a joke, I suppose. But one of the Green Party's policies that they've just released is that they will legalise people to join terrorist organisations such as Al-Qaeda and ISIS. I think that's the biggest joke that I've heard all week, but it's true apparently as well. So that's just something there to have a little chuckle about later. So my campaign in Bradford South, I've been campaigning Bradford South on and off now for the last 10 years really, but it's now starting to get very, very interesting. It's a two-horse race. We've got two horses in Bradford South now. We've got the old horse, we've got the old, tired old horse that's slowing down, a little bit lame, you know, it'll probably fall at the last hurdle. This is of course a Labour horse. But there's another horse that's coming up on the outside. It's a thoroughbred, it's dynamic, fast. I'm running out of words, but you get in the picture, I suppose, you get in the picture. It's a pretty awesome horse, this. And it's coming up on the outside, as I say. Last year, in 2014, in the local elections in Bradford South, the Labour Party polled around about 40%, and you think, that's not a bad figure, that 40%, but that 40% has been chipped away for years and years. Every year, it goes down and down. But the story of 2014 in Bradford South was the other horse, UKIP, polling 33% across the constituency. 1 in 3 voters in Bradford South now vote UKIP, and that's on the increase. So it's a two-horse race. Nobody, even the Tories, have given up on Bradford South. They don't bother with it anymore. The Lib Dems, you know, you daren't even knock on a door if you're a Lib Dem in Bradford South anymore. The Greens, well, they're just going backwards. So it's a two-horse race, but these two horses are very interesting. The Labour horse the current rider is the current MP, Jerry Sutcliffe, who's reasonably respected as far as you go as a Labour Party person, I suppose. It's reasonably respected. But what Labour have done in their lack of wisdom, they've imposed an all-women shortlist on Bradford South. In my view, and in many people's views, exactly, it's discriminatory, in my view. In UKIP, we believe in this principle: the best person for the job, irrespective of sex, irrespective of race, the best person for the job. That, to me, is discrimination, and we don't agree with that. But if that's not bad enough, not only have they put an all-women shortlist on the table, but they interviewed many people, many councillors from Bradford, many Labour councillors. And I'm not going to stand here and tell you that the Labour councillors are competent, but at least they're local. But they said, we don't want any of you. What we'll do is, we'll parachute someone in from Leeds. I mean, I've got friends from Leeds, I'm nothing against Leeds, but you need someone local to represent you, and the Labour Party are not offering that. On looking on the opposite horse, on the opposite side of the coin, UKIP, I'm the candidate for UKIP. I've lived in Bradford South all my life. I've lived in 4 of the wards of Bradford South. I could take you to any part of that constituency, and I don't know it like the back of my hand. So this is the difference. The Labour Party, the party of the parachute people in, it's all national. UKIP is about local people. It's about local policies, it's about local services, and it's about local people. That is the fundamental difference. So if we look at the form of the two horses now in Bradford South, we've got the Labour Party that come out with the same old stuff. It's the same old stuff. If you saw the leaflets this year, it's the same as last year, it's the same as the year before, it's the same as 10 years ago. The fight on 2 main issues. The first issue is the NHS. If you listen to Labour, the NHS couldn't function without them, and apparently it's their NHS. Well, actually, as far as I'm concerned, the NHS belongs to everybody in this country and belongs to every one of us. So it's not Labour parties to give away, it's not theirs to weaponise. The NHS belongs to all of us, and we should take the NHS back. And on the NHS, Labour saying, you can trust us with the NHS. Well, actually, if I remember rightly, wasn't it Labour that signed over 100 PFI contracts that privatised the NHS? And I've not got a lot of time for this man, Nick Clegg, but what he mentioned about, and he provided the evidence to say that the Labour Party was the only party that has ever privatised an NHS hospital, and Nick Clegg provided the facts for that. So I think that's something that people need to understand. Labour Party, they may have set the NHS up in the day, but that was the old Labour Party that believed in real things, working man and real principles. What we've got now, this shower, they don't have any principles whatsoever. On the opposite side of the coin, what are UKIP going to do? Well, we're the only party that will oppose the PFI. We'll make sure that the NHS is free at the point of contact for everybody in the United Kingdom. And this is the important point. UKIP believes in a national health service. Labour, on the other hand, don't believe in a national health service, because this is the truth that Labour will not tell you. They support the international health service. Our NHS is open up to every single person in Europe to use and abuse, and we pay the bill for that. I don't think that's fair. If you've not paid in, you shouldn't get out, and that's what UKIP will stand for, and that's what you vote for when you vote for UKIP. And the other big policy, this is the other one that Labour will ram down your throat. And then Tony Blair did the great speech, education, education, education. Well, I wouldn't have used those words if I was Tony Blair. I'd have gone for something like war, war, and even more war. But let's just park that for a second and, just imagine that they did really believe in education. Well, let's look at Bradford, for example. The other month in Bradford, the Labour Party initiated a report into Bradford education. And I've seen this report, and it's the most damning report that I've ever seen in my entire life. If I had a child in Bradford, I would be homeschooling that child. I wouldn't be sending them to a school in Bradford. And I'll give you one really quick quote from this report, and this gives you a flavour of what this report was saying. One key indicator stated the percentage of pupils attending secondary schools judged by Ofsted to be good or better was 42% in Bradford, while the national average was 74%. What a scandal. Not only is Labour's education policy unfit for purpose, but the gentleman who's running this education policy is unfit for purpose. And I'm going to take this time now to mention something. The report that they initiated last month, they haven't released it to the members of the public, they haven't released it to the people, even though it was effectively paid for by our council tax money. They're not releasing this report to the people of Bradford because it is so damning. And if this report is released, these people will have to go. I demanded last month that they release this education report to the people of Bradford. Labour Party told me, we're not interested, we'll give you a 2-page summary, that's all you're getting. Well, that's not good enough. That's just not good enough. So right now, I'm calling on the leader, the education chief in Bradford, Councillor Ralph Burry, to resign. He's overseeing the biggest shambles in education history in Bradford, and it's time for him to go. So on the election, I just want to finish on this point on the election. As I see it, the election boils down to one thing. All parties have a pot of money to spend in an election. Different parties will do different things with taxes, but effectively they've got a pot of money which won't be that dissimilar. The difference is, you've got UKIP. We will not send £66 million per day to Europe. We will not send £26 million a day in foreign aid to countries that a lot of them are run by dictators. And we will not spend billions of pounds of taxpayers' money for foreign wars to murder and maim innocent people. So this is my message to the people of Bradford. It's about, politics boils down to one simple thing, and that's priorities. The Liberal Democrats, the Conservatives and the Labours, their priorities is sending money to Europe, funding these wars and paying dictators with foreign aid. That's not our priorities. Our priorities are very simple. We'll use all our money, we'll send a little bit in foreign aid when, for natural disasters, because that's the right thing to do. But the majority of our money will be spent in our country to help our NHS, to help the education system, like in Bradford, that's crumbling, to help our pensioners with pensions and properly fund care homes and things of this nature. So this is the choice when people go to the ballot paper in May. If you're happy as an elector to say, I'm happy for my taxpayers' money to be sent abroad and wasted away to killing people and in foreign aid, then that's absolutely fine. But you've got to think about that yourself. If that's what you want to do, that's your decision to make. But make that decision. If you think that you want your money spent on your children's education, if you think you want your money spent on our National Health Service, if you think you want our money spent to have a military that can actually defend our country, then there's only one game in town, and that game is UKIP. So that's all I want to say really. Bradford South, it's there for the taking. If we have the people in Bradford South, we'll win Bradford South. We're coming up on Labour, they're out on the feet, they'll follow the hurdle, the horse will die, the ride will go flying and break the neck, and it's all over for them. So that's where we are. I'll have to mention just quickly though that I am an animal lover, so I don't want any horses to die in this But that's all I want to say. But just before I finish, before I bring our amazing speaker Steven Woolfe on, I want to just bring in very briefly a man who I met with in November last year. As of yesterday, he was sitting in Bradford Council as a Conservative councillor. But he's going to have a little chat to you tonight, so I want to bring on our new councillor for Thornton and Allerton, Councillor McCabe.
Well, thank you. Why did I join UKIP? What amazing speakers, eh? If they are the people that are standing for us, Bradford's in safe hands. Is that right? Sensible, mature, logical thinking. Sadly, people out there today haven't got that between their ears. If you listen, if we were racist, I wouldn't be here. Half the people in this room wouldn't be here. We'll be looking for two candidates. Sexist? I shouted it out earlier. Which party has only women? Shortlists. Does UKIP? No. Labour. Are they sexist? Ask them out there. They won't listen. I was talking to somebody earlier about bigots. Maybe you talk about bigots. They're out there, not in this room. Yeah. They are not prepared to listen to what it is, hope not hate. That's what the acronym for we're scared. What they don't want is the status quo to change. We have intelligent people attacking Westminster. And when I hear, I think it was the Prime Minister, turn round on TV and say a vote for UKIP means you get Labour. That's a person who's given up. That's a person that no longer believes in what he is standing up and saying to us, the local people. Don't vote for them because you'll get Labour. So I say to Conservative voters, don't vote for Cameron, vote for UKIP because he's given up on you. That's the problem we face. They are scared of listening to new people. I mean, my political heroes, I was told I was speaking about 2 hours ago, so this is all coming back to front. Two of my biggest political heroes, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King. Okay? Two people that were brave enough to stand up and demand change. Stood up, one of them killed for it. You know, one spent 27 years in prison for it, for their convictions. It's people like that that inspired me to try and make a difference. Yes, when I studied politics, I leant towards the right, and when I joined, I don't think UKIP was around. So they weren't there at the time. But I've always been against Europe, from down here, when Ted Heath told me that my pound was only worth 100 pence when I went to the shop. Not 244 pence. You know, suddenly my sweet ration had disappeared. EY was not happy. 240, there we go. I'm not a maths teacher. But for me, people like Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, that made a change. And I think people in this country are stuck in a quagmire of status quo. We are used to being told it has to be Labour, it has to be Conservatives. It will never be the Liberals, because they've got too many splinters where it hurts. They do not know which way to jump. They won't jump with the Conservatives next time, they'll go with Labour next time, in my opinion. If they're around. Well, I think we'll get more seats than them. As it comes May, you will see this party is the third biggest party. That scares them. Because they don't understand that we are normal, everyday people. You know, I'm working class, anti-working class it says. £100,000 it says, somebody said on Facebook. It'll take me 4 years to earn that. I'm not rich, never have been. Don't own a house. You know, two kids that I've helped grow up sensibly. Whichever way they go is their choice. Because I believe it's up to them, not up to me, to drill it into their heads what they do. I give them guidance like you do with your children, I'm sure. I won't go on for it. Once I get going, it's my radio in me. I've done radio for 20 years and I just can't stop when I get one of these in the end. So I'll wrap it up. We have 3 outstanding candidates. We heard 3 fantastic speeches today. I'm proud now to sit in Bradford Council as a UKIP member. If I'm honest, I think there'll be more joining.
Good.
I think there will be. I can think of 2 or 3 that I know. I'm not going to say anything. It's not fair. But I think we could be looking at 10 or more in the council. And I'll be honest, we're lucky. We've got 3 fantastic candidates that have been banging the drum. And it filters down to people like me at the bottom, looking up at the big boys. You know, I did try to be an MP. I was involved in Europe with Conservatives. If you knew how they did it, you wouldn't be interested at all. I pulled out. Yes. I wasn't going to put your hand up and ask a question. So, for me, good luck to the 3. I'm sure we can do it. I'm happy to be a part of this, what I think is a young, vociferous, energetic party. And it's so nice to be in a room where I'm not the youngest. Thank you very much.